Are you craving a trip on Space Mountain? Well, we've got the next best thing. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePauli, and welcome to the House of Mouse headlines for the week of October 18th, 2020, brought to you by laughingplace.com, your up-to-date resource for the latest Disney news every day of the week. As you're listening to this, I am currently at Walt Disney World, so this episode is going to be a little bit different. While we catch up on the biggest news of the week the next time around, I wanted to highlight a few other recent stories that slipped through the cracks. This includes the retirement of a notable Disney Cruise Line figure, a fun feature for Disney Plus subscribers, a new short from Pixar, and more, so let's get to it.
Hear the latest news from the Walt Disney Company in today's House of Mouse headlines.
Before we get to the pickup items, Disney announced some big business news this week. The Walt Disney Company will be reorganizing to reflect a new emphasis on streaming. Under the new structure, Disney's creative engines will focus on developing and producing original content for the company's various platforms, while distribution and commercialization activities will be centralized into a single global media and entertainment distribution organization. Put simply, the creatives will now be able to create content and then allow another division to determine where that content goes. The Media and Entertainment Distribution Group will be headed by Kareem Daniel, who was formerly president of Consumer Products, Games, and Publishing. Then on the content side, there will be three groups: Studios, General Entertainment, and Sports, headed by current leaders Alan Horn and Alan Bergman, Peter Rice, and James Pitaro. All leaders will report directly to Bob Chapek. As for what this means for the Disney parks, well, not much. Disney Parks experiences and products will continue to operate under its existing structure, led by Josh D'Amaro. In a statement about this restructuring, Disney CEO Bob Chapek said, quote, "Given the incredible success of Disney Plus and our plans to accelerate our direct-to-consumer business, we are strategically positioning our company to more effectively support our growth strategy and increase shareholder value. Managing content creation distinct from distribution will allow us to be more effective and nimble in making the content consumers want most, delivered in the way they prefer to consume it. Our creative teams will concentrate on what they do best, making world-class, franchise-based content, while our newly centralized global distribution team will focus on delivering and monetizing that content in the most optimal way across all platforms, including Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN Plus, and the coming Star International streaming service." End quote. On top of that, Disney announced that its next Investor Day will take place virtually on December 10th, so we should get lots of news regarding Disney Plus and beyond then. Disneyland Paris has rolled out a new digital tool to assist with social distancing efforts and alleviate crowding. With a new standby pass, guests can optimize the amount of time they spend in queue for some of the most popular attractions at both Disneyland Park and Walt Disney Studios Park. Somewhat akin to Fast Pass, with Standby Pass, guests can book a time slot to enter the physical queue of an attraction via the official Disneyland Paris app and return to the queue at a designated time during certain periods of the day. When it's activated, only guests with a Standby Pass will be able to visit the selected attractions. Meanwhile, access without a Standby Pass will be possible for some time every morning and evening. This new service currently features Crush's Coaster, with other attractions such as Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Peter Pan's Flight, Big Thunder Mountain, Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain, Autopia, the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and Ratatouille the Adventure joining soon. After 25 years of serving and sailing with the Disney Cruise Line, Commodore Tom Forberg is setting sail for a new horizon. Forberg, who started with the Disney Cruise Line before the Disney Magic was even built, is set to retire in January of 2021. Joining Disney as Captain Tom Forberg, he later became Commodore Tom in 2013, overseeing the fleet of ships the Disney Magic, Disney Dream, Disney Fantasy, and Disney Wonder. In a statement, Disney Signature Experiences President Thomas Mazloum said of Forberg, "It would be hard to find anyone who represents Disney Cruise Line more completely, more commandingly than Tom Forberg. First as captain and later as Commodore, he has served steadily and expertly at the helm, helping to launch each of our ships, mentoring officers and crew, and being an exceptional leader, role model, and friend to so many." adding, "It is most certainly an understatement to say that Commodore Tom has served our fleet, our teams, and our guests with great dedication, integrity, professionalism, and skill." End quote. Happy sailings, Commodore Tom. Speaking of traveling oceans, it seems that Olu Mel, who first debuted exclusively at Disney's Aulani, continues to make his way to new destinations. After arriving in Asia early this year, the ukulele-playing turtle has reached the continental US, popping up at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort last month. In addition to several plushes, Olu Mel can also be found on magnets, luggage tags, backpacks, and more. Meanwhile, outside the Pineapple Lanai, the Olu fun continued with an Olu Mel cupcake and an Olu Mel soft serve. Where will he arrive next? You'll have to stay tuned to find out. Earlier this week, the Los Angeles Lakers ended their time in the Disney bubble by winning the 2020 NBA championship. However, it seems that earlier in the playoffs, when the Houston Rockets were sent packing, one superstar took it upon himself to give a generous tip for Disney cast members. Russell Westbrook left an $8,000 tip for the staff at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort and Spa. Westbrook and his teammates had been staying at the hotel during the NBA's bubble season and spent more than 2 months on the property in between games at ESPN's Wide World of Sports. This also isn't the first time that the point guard's generosity has been touted, with Westbrook previously winning the 2014-15 NBA Cares Community Assist Award for his work in the community. Last month, Disney Plus announced that they were testing a group watch feature on the platform for subscribers in Canada, with plans to roll it out to other markets later this year. Well, now the feature is available in the US, allowing up to 7 people to watch together, no matter where they are in the country. Subscribers can launch the experience through the Group Watch icon found on the details page of series and movies from the extensive library on Disney+. They'll be given a link to invite up to 6 other people to watch with them, although everyone in the watch group will also need to have a Disney Plus account. Group Watch's synchronized playback allows each participant the ability to pause for a bathroom break, play, rewind to watch a favorite scene again, or fast forward for the whole group. Viewers can also react to their stream using a set of emojis. So the next time you're missing movie night with friends, maybe give Disney Plus's Group Watch feature a try instead. A new 2D animated short film from Pixar's Spark Shorts program is on its way. The film, titled Burrow, follows a young rabbit as she tries to build the burrow of her dreams, becoming embarrassed each time she accidentally digs into a neighbor's home. Directed by Madeline Sharafian and produced by Mike Cap-Barrett, Burrow is one of only a handful of 2D projects from Pixar, with previous endeavors including Your Friend the Rat and another Pixar Spark Shorts project, Kitbull. While this news was first announced last month, it's now unclear what will happen with the short, as it was intended to be released in theaters alongside Soul. However, as we shared last week, Soul is now headed directly to Disney Plus this Christmas instead of opening in cinemas. Presumably, Burrow will be streaming around then as well, but we'll need to keep an eye out for more news. In an odd bit of news, Disney is being sued by the copyright owner of the Evel Knievel brand over the Duke Kaboom character from Toy Story 4. The lawsuit claims that the Canadian stuntman toy character in the film infringes on their Evel Knievel trademark, presumably because those filing the suit have never heard of parody. Evel Knievel's rise to fame began in the 1960s and was known for wearing a white jumpsuit with American flag insignia. The real-life stunt performer Evel Knievel also inspired a toy line in the 1970s, including a doll in his signature jumpsuit and a pullback motorcycle. As you'll recall, in Toy Story 4, Duke Kaboom has a similar motorcycle, but it's emblazoned with a Canadian maple leaf. K&K Promotions Incorporated is seeking compensation and punitive damages from Disney in addition to profits from Toy Story 4 to be determined in a trial. Finally, now in its 25th year, the Disney Conservation Fund continues to support organizations dedicated to the protection of wildlife and their natural habitats. Recently, Disney highlighted 4 of the 50 organizations that have received Conservation Fund grants in 2020. This includes the University of Central Florida's work with oysters and endangered birds, the Global Penguin Society's efforts to protect penguins and their habitats, Beneath the Waves' work studying the behavior of sharks, and Conservation Fusion's efforts to connect people to the science of lemur and forest conservation through education, research, and leadership skills development. As mentioned, these are just some of the great organizations gaining support from the Disney Conservation Fund this year. For more information on the program and to see what past recipients are doing with their grants, be sure to visit disney.com/conservation. That's going to do it for the news this week, so let's get to this week's Twitter poll where I asked you folks, are you excited that Disney Pixar Soul is heading directly to Disney Plus, or would you rather pay to see it on the big screen? Now your options were, of course, Disney Plus or the big screen. And this race was as tight as it could get without being a tie. In second place, we get Disney Plus with 49% of the votes, and the big screen gets a 51% winning vote. Do you agree with these results? Cast your vote in the Twitter poll every week by following Dizney CTC on Twitter. That's Dizney CTC on Twitter. Now, folks, if you haven't listened to this past Wednesday's episode, be sure to check it out as I spoke with the producer of Frankenweenie. And this upcoming Wednesday, I have a conversation about an unrealized attraction that will most likely be quite surprising for you to hear about. Not many people know about this one. The easiest way to make sure you don't miss any of the magic is by subscribing to Disney Coast to Coast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Wherever you search, don't forget, it's Disney with a Z, Coast to Coast. And also, don't forget that there are tons of Disney guests and Halloween titles being discussed right now on That Halloween Podcast. You can find it at depodcastnetwork.com. That's depodcastnetwork.com. As I mentioned at the top of the show, I am currently at Walt Disney World, so if you have any questions about visiting the resort during the current pandemic, this month's live stream Q&A is the perfect place to ask about it so that I can answer your questions directly. Find out how to take part in that live stream at patreon.com/DisneyCTC. That's patreon.com/DizneyCTC. Other than that, folks, have a magical day. Bye!
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Disney Coast to Coast is produced and hosted by Jeff DePauli. Learn more about the podcast and become a supporter at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. This podcast is part of the DePodcast Network. Learn more about this show, plus find more quality and entertaining podcasts at depodcastnetwork.com. That's DEPodcastNetwork.com.